Hey, how y'all doing? Eddie Bells here, and I'm a lifestyle strategist where we help you live the life that you're called to live and not that you have to live. Happy Thursday to you guys. Hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. Who we have on here? Drop me a like, a comment, or a share, and let's tell the world what we're doing. Let's help more people. Today we're going to talk about, let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone through some tough times and you just couldn't seem to get through it mentally? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Because I believe, everything starts in the mind, and we drive ourselves in the direction of the way our mind thinks and the way our thoughts take us, right? And so the problem is sometimes we can go in this direction because of the way our mind thinks, and we can go in that direction because of the way our mind thinks. So it's just a matter of choosing which way you're going to go. And oftentimes when we're in tough times, we allow ourselves to dwindle down this spiral of thoughts. So what I'm going to talk about today real quickly is really how to manage your thoughts, how to manage your thinking, right? So let's just jump right in. So there's this concept that I learned years ago called reframing. Reframing. All it means is, well, let me just say it this way. Have you ever looked at a picture and you're looking at the picture and it looks great, but you see that same picture in a different frame? It's got a whole nother frame over it and it looks a whole lot different, right? So, it even looks better because it's in a whole nother frame. So it's like you're looking at the picture and it's in this frame and it's nice, it's great, but you put it in this frame, it's like, oh my God, like the colors pop out and everything just resonates with you because of the frame. Well, so goes the picture. I think the same thing goes for our mind. Hey, Erica, how you doing? Hey, John, hope you're doing well. So what I'm saying is we have to learn to reframe. Right? And I'll give you a quick story of a guy that kind of really helped me to understand how this all worked. So he did a business deal, and don't quote me, I could be wrong on the figures, but he did a business deal, and I think he must have lost like $300,000. And so he was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like this cannot be happening. I just lost $300,000. I've been bamboozled, right? And so that's how he was feeling. But what happened was, he said, look, I got to shake this. I got to shake this. And this is where emotional management comes into play, because he says, I have to reframe the way I'm thinking. So he started to, remember I did a video a week ago, talking about empowering questions and disempowering questions. So he decided to change the type of questions that he asked himself. So he says, I know I'm feeling down, but if I wasn't feeling down, how could I make this situation be better? And so he started to, when you ask that question, your inner spirit is going to have to answer the question, right? And so the question was, well, then he started asking more questions. He says, what would you spend $300,000 on that would be good? And he says, well, me personally, I love coaching. I'd spend $300,000 on really good coaching that could take me to the next level. And so what he decided to do in that situation is he said, look, instead of thinking that I lost $300,000, I actually learned a $3,000 course, right? He basically took a $300 course. Now, in real life, he lost $300,000, right? And then he said, look, isn't it awesome that I had $300,000 to lose? Right? So that's another form of reframing, just asking yourself questions, changing the way you look at things, choosing to see the glass half full instead of half empty. Now, don't get me wrong. When things are bad, it could be bad, right? But there's always a way to reframe things. I was talking to a good buddy of mine, and he even did this. He said, look, I had to ask myself, what do I need to learn from this situation? He had a situation that popped up and it just wasn't a good situation. He said, hey, what do I need to learn from this situation? Right? So, how can we reframe the way we perceive a situation? Because you know what? The same situation can happen to two different people, and both of them can come out of it completely different only by the way they see that situation. Does that make sense? So again, reframing, and by the way, I'll say this for those of you who are in leadership. Number one, you got to be able to lead yourself by reframing. But once you really learn and master this, then you can start to learn how to reframe this help other people reframe. So for instance, when you're leading people and other people are going through things, you could say, hey, I can appreciate, the situation that you're going through, but, let me ask you a question. And then you find a way to reframe that situation where they can look at it differently. The situation still happened, right? But instead of looking at it negatively, they can find a positive way to spin it and make it move in their favor instead of against them. Make sense? So I hope you guys are getting some value out of this. This is good stuff, really, because to be honest with you, once we let our emotions get in the way, or in today's world, we say we let our feelings get in the way, right? We let our feelings kind of surface. Here's how we say, you're in your feelings, right? So once you get in your feelings, then things start to get in a whole nother way. It starts to go in a whole nother direction, and it never goes the way you need it to go, right? So I just want to hop on here real quickly and just share this one quick tip. So, maybe shoot me some examples of some tough things that maybe somebody's faced. I'll give you a good example. And this is not to take away from or even be insensitive of a situation of maybe losing a loved one, right? But I was even watching something on TV the other day, which I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I thought it was so perfect of an example of what I'm talking about, reframing. And someone's grandfather had passed, right? And of course they didn't pass yet. They had a heart attack, and they were looking at possibly, they possibly could die. They were like right at that point. And so she said, hey, instead of choosing to think about the negative, how about thinking about celebrating their life? And that was perfect, right? It was a perfect way. Don't get me wrong. We're not taking away from the badness of the situation, but we choose to look at the good things. We choose to take the empowering road instead of the disempowering road, right? So you guys getting some value out of this? If you are, give me a share, give me a like, give me a comment. If you're looking at this as a live, check it out. Comment live. If you're looking at this as a replay, comment replay. But I think more people need to hear this, because we all go through stuff. We all go through struggles and life situations, and sometimes we just don't know how to handle it, right? Maybe it's our own health. What can I learn from this situation that I'm dealing with, that this is happening? How did I attract this into my life? It kind of goes hand in hand with what I talked about last week. If you didn't see that video, go through a couple scrolls on my page, and I talked about asking the right questions, because I believe that you change your questions you change your life based on the questions that you ask yourself, right? So I appreciate you guys for tuning in just for a quick few minutes. Hey, if anyone wants more information on this or help on this, I'd be happy to talk with you personally. If you feel like, maybe you need a little bit more help on the situation you're dealing with right now, hey, look, reach out to me. I'd love to help you with something like that and help you to reframe. And maybe you can't figure out how to reframe a situation. It's so tough. It's so hard. You just can't seem to break it or get through it mentally. Maybe we can talk through that and help you get through that. So God bless you guys. Have a phenomenal day, and we'll see you over the top.